All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, first off, disaster. Disaster has happened. Disaster. Marvin disaster has happened. Guys, he did it. I heard him while I was in the shower before I left for the cenotaph, and he's made it into the peanut butter jar. The little bugger. How much did he eat? Oh my God, he's gonna be so fat. He finally got the lid off. I guess I better put that outside. It's like I had to go take the photos for the Remembrance Day stuff. Picked up a Pontiac journal. Bonnie was there, so I told her I'll do the Christmas photos for the sleigh rides and all that. Yeah, if you can, go ahead. Because last year I got the cover shot, so it's like she goes, they might end up in the closet. We'll see. But I take good photos, so like today, yeah, like when I got down here this morning, the snow was blowing like drifts off the top of the roof. It was just dark and like end of world kind of weather. And it's like about 10 minutes before I left, I got out of the shower. I heard Marvin chomping on the peanut butter while I was in the shower. So he must have went out and came back in. And then when I just got back there now, it's like, oh no, he made it in. So I got to get that out of here. He's going to, oh man, that's going to be a disaster. Little buggerhead. That's the main thing he's coming in for. So hopefully I can keep him out otherwise. Because I don't want him to search around the house for other stuff. That's the whole thing. Like he was going to just that. It's like if I could get something that he can't chew through, but like that distracts him. Maybe with squirrel brain it might work. I don't know. But anyway, I got out of the shower. It was still dark out there. By the time I got all my clothes on, the sun came out, and we had a beautiful Remembrance Day ceremony. We had almost all new guys, except for one guy was here quite a few years ago, a bagpiper. And my buddy came up. He brought his bagpipes up, and he played the bagpipes this time. His reeds didn't freeze too much. They started on the second song. They froze, but on the first one, he was able to get through Amazing Grace or whatever. But yeah, it was funny. It was kind of funny because the guy was like, "Hey, that was me!" Like like 10 years ago, or 8 years ago, or whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, So I was talking to some of the soldiers and so that, like I do most of the photos. I've been doing them since 2008. Pretty much been doing the photos, right? My cousin brought out his Z8 camera. That thing's a beast. I thought it was going to be like being mirrorless. It's like I figured, okay, it's probably gonna be slightly smaller than my 22-year-old, the D100. But actually, no, it was bigger. It was much, much bigger. About the same weight, but much, much bigger. So, that was nice camera anyway. So, big price tag on those cameras, but it's his prized possession, stuff like that. So good for him. Congratulated him. He's also the garbage man. So, it's like he didn't say anything about the last batch of stuff bins that went out. So it's like, okay, I guess I got it right then. So I'll keep doing that. And I was talking to my great aunt, and I was talking about black walnut and stuff like that. I said, well, if my squirrel Marvin doesn't eat all the black walnut, he's going to get really fat. He's going to eat. If he eats all those, he's going to be sick. I said, probably. So I'm going to get. She wants to plant some. So I was like, oh, I said, if he doesn't eat them all, I'll see if I can give you some. You know what I mean? Yeah, but he made it into the peanut butter. Oh man, oh man, that's not good. That's not good. I'll put it out on the veranda tonight, and hopefully he doesn't make too much of a mess out there. But I got to get it out of here because I don't want peanut butter all over the house. Squirrel covered in peanut butter running around. Mind you, it might be easier to track him if I can see peanut butter streaks everywhere. It's like, that's where he's going. Yeah, little bugger. Little bugger. Yeah, no, it went well. Went very well. Got, I don't know how many photos I took, but I got one photo. Like, this year I did notice something different this year. Everybody sung the national anthem this year. And they even sang it right. But this was the first year we sang "God Save the King" instead of "God Save the Queen," whether you believe it like that or not. But that is the tradition, right? So, I lay a wreath for the Holy Trinity Church or sorry, the United Church, and I did the reading of the names. My dad laid the wreath for my grandfather, and yeah, because I thought my dad was going to read the names, but they put them all, like the whole family, all in one list. So because I didn't see my dad around, I was like, okay, I guess I'll just say my grandfather's name because yeah. Anyway, so I ended up reading all the names, and that's all. But I was talking to my friend Amanda. We were talking about some music stuff, some ideas for some live entertainment up at the hall, and I didn't get to talk to her enough about it, but because she just wanted as a counselor, right? So it's like, okay, and like she has some ideas or whatever, but I don't know if she's going to be a part of the recreation. If she is, I hope so, because if there's a person I know that would be good in creating events and organizing events, I think it would be her. She's just that kind of a person, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that's, but she's like, well, Reg, what would we need? I said, well, we need a PA system. I said, but if we make it kind of like a bit of a music, like an all-day music concert kind of thing, I know a couple that they have all that stuff. We can make them as the headliners with the caveat that they get, like they bring the PA and we use their PA, right? That kind of stuff. So there's things we can do. I'd be excited to be involved in something like that for sure. Because I told her, like, I plan on at some point, I just need a PA for, and then book the hall, and then like say, give it like long, like even 3 months ahead. Book it like 3 months ahead. Just so I can make money. Like, oh, Reg is going to be playing it there in 3 months, and a 2-hour concert or 3-hour concert, whatever it is, and put on a show for people. And maybe you charge $10 a ticket or whatever, but you make it a really good show that even if you don't make money on the first show, like every show after that, you got to come and see this guy play. It's the coolest thing you'll ever see. There's stories, there's music, there's theatrics and all that. So yeah, getting local talent together would be good. And Ricky was telling me, he was like, I didn't get a chance. I had to kind of run away from him there because I had to keep taking the photo, the final group photo of the soldiers and the mayor and stuff like that, and the lady that takes care of the cenotaph and stuff like that. I do that every year, so it's like, but he had to run, so I wasn't able to finish up. But he was in the midst of telling me that he's taking guitar lessons again, and the guitar teacher was really impressed by some of the stuff that he had learned so far, and that he was like, where did you learn that? And he said, well, my first guitar teacher taught me this. And he goes, well, that guy's actually quite brilliant. That was a great thing. I'm going to incorporate that into my teaching. So it's like, basically, I taught a student that gave some of my teaching methods to another teacher who'd been playing guitar longer than me. I mean, I've been playing for 47 years. Like, wow. This guy's been playing for 55, so he must be up there. But he was like, yeah, no, I love the concept. Like, and basically it was just how to incorporate melody into your songs, because if you don't have melody in your songs, what are you doing? Like, what are like, how are you serving the song and stuff like that. So I wish I would have got a little more insight on that. But he goes, I thought you would like to know this. And I said, absolutely ecstatic, stuff like that. So he was asking me about how this was going. Hey, did you buy a place? I said, well, not really. I'm just renting it and stuff like that. So I told him a little bit what's going on here, how I'm turning the studio, and I got the drum going and all that stuff. So it was good catch up. It was good to catch up. And I was talking to one soldier. He remembered me from way back, and we were talking to him for a little bit. And yeah, there's about 30 of them. Well, it depends on each year. Like, it depends on the budget, right? Like, one year you might get 12 guys. The next year you might get 30. The year after that you might get 8. You know what I mean? It depends on how the 3RCR like they volunteer. I'm sure they get paid, but it's like like depends on how many memorials are going on, where they're going. Like we kind of go all out on this one. Um, as a community, we tend to like we have the memorial, and then we go up and the soldiers come up and they have sandwiches with us and everything like that in the hall, and like half the town's there, right, for whatever. So it makes for a really nice tradition and stuff like that. Yeah, hopefully, but like every year, there's less people there. The people that no longer with us. So like the younger generation is going to have to be the one to keep everything going, right? On that. But considering the amount of snow, I was really surprised that there were as many people showed up as they did. So it was nice to catch up with some people. Everybody's always asking me about the photos and like stuff like that. And oh, where do you send the photos, and what do you do with them? And I was like, oh, I give them to the I upload them at the at the municipal hall, and they put them on their website. And last year, that guy wasn't there this year, but last year I ended up sending some to the 3RCR homepage, or to the guy that managed the homepage. And I said, because it's good PR, and stuff like that, and I'm more than happy to do it. And I sent them, he's like, send me like a top 3 kind of thing, right? So I did that, but he wasn't there this year, so I'd like to send, if I still have the email, it was Corporal, whatever his name was. Anyway, if I still have his email, I'll send him some again, so that'd be great, because it's like, it's promotes my community, right? So yes, it is for the vets and all vets, but like this is a very specific group of vets from here, you know what I mean? So it's like it just adds to the history, and I love that kind of stuff. So that's what I did today so far. I saw my most of my clients like were there, so it's like I guess I don't have to call you tonight. He said, yeah, I'll be at your place tomorrow. I said, okay, meet you at the other place because I didn't get it plowed down here. I don't want you to get stuck. I'll meet you up there with my chainsaw. so it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. And I brought back my garbage bin, so I'm going to fill that up. I'm going to put the recycling one out. I don't know if I should put it out quite yet because it's probably going to snow between now and then. I'm just going to put it on the inside of my driveway, just so if the plow guy did decide to just plow, because I see he plowed the actual laneway, but like the entrance. But I'm like, I didn't ask him to do it, so I guess I'll have to talk to him about it, whether I'm going to do it or not. Like there's no use because like if he's not going to open up the whole thing, there's no point. Whatever, unless he's doing it for the municipality, just so there's a place to put the garbage cans. But I'm probably not going to get it plowed in here because I don't have a vehicle, and I'm at that point of the year where it's like, even though I have money for a vehicle, I might wait till spring, as much of a pain in the ass as that will be. But it's one of those decisions where I can save money, buy a better vehicle in the spring. Theoretically, I'll have a bigger stash, and I don't have the extra expenses of having to pay the plow guy. I could deal with that, save up that for next year. All those kind of things. So yeah, so that's where that's at. Not a bad start to the day. Nice and sunny out there. I'm gonna get a little bit of work done down here, mainly just fill up the garbage can again. Maybe drag make sure my wheelbarrow's put away for the season. I'm glad I moved the cinder blocks when I did, because that was a good idea. And then tomorrow I work for my other client, and then again I'm probably off for about till either the Monday or the next Wednesday, which would be about a week. In that time, I'm going to be like I was telling my great aunt, I said it's going to take me about 3 years. I said, but I'm going to cut everything down, kind of the way like we're talking about my grandmother and stuff like that, and it was kind of neat, So it's like that was her sister, so to speak. So it was like, I'm saying, I'm doing this and doing that, and everybody in the town is like ecstatic what I'm doing with this place. Like they're like, like I'm not gonna rebuild it, but it's just like the idea that I'm taking care of stuff. You know what I mean? Like people, like people like to see people that are motivated. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing. That is a big thing that a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with stuff and they don't know how to approach the enthusiasm of just doing. You know what I mean? And not without getting overwhelmed, right? And that's anybody, me included, me included. So I just kind of approach things differently. I always try to approach things with a more lighthearted, can-do attitude, with the reality of keep my expectations low so I'm never disappointed. So I was like, okay, well, I got this far. Okay, I'm going to do 10 things today, but maybe I get like 2 things or 3 things done. Okay, as far as I got, but I got something done. So always, there's a native saying something along the lines of always aim for the moon. If you see an eagle in the moon, aim for the moon. You might not hit the moon, but you might still hit the eagle. Not that I'm saying you should be shooting at eagles, but if you were, you get the metaphor. Aim high and just be happy with what you achieve. So yeah, it was really cool to see my buddy play the bagpipes. He's fascinated by them. He's still doing his guitar stuff. His wife is taking violin lessons. He's got the other daughter in guitar lessons, and it's like that's great. I love seeing people do well. I really do. There's a comfort in it from a community sort of, so to speak. Like with all the craziness going on in the world, like your community, family, nation, future is my main philosophy in life. So, your community is something that you should be participating in and active in. Everybody's always thanking you for doing the photos. I get nothing for them other than free sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like and that to me is, it's not about, like that's something that I'm involved with because it's a part of my community, it's part of my heritage, stuff like that. And getting the younger generation into it is very, very important. And it's nice. I love it when I see little kids participating in these things because it translates later on in life. You know what I mean? Into the bonds you make, into the like the connections you make with other people, and how it fulfills a meaningful life. Like that. That's why you do it. That's why you do it. Hopefully that makes sense the way I put it. But yeah, no, Amanda got me all excited about the concept there of her wanting to put something together too. I was kind of hinting at her. It's like, yeah, because if I could find a female singer, if you know anybody, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, elbow, elbow. She's like, I know. But like I say, she's a busy person too. Oh, we had a good little chat because her and I haven't been able to catch up in a long time. Even though I work right beside where she lives, right? So, but when I'm working, and whatever. But like this is her down time of the year per se. But she also has she has 2 businesses, right? So her side business keeping her quite busy, so that's good for her. But it also keeps her from, these extra activities that could be really, really, really cool. Because I would love to get a couple more songs down with her and stuff like that. And then if like her idea of like trying to find local talent, not just in the town, because there's only so many of us that play music, right? But like people within the area, bring them in. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. And like the jam night thing would be great. The thing is, the people hosting it, and not putting in to disparage on these people or whatever. But the problem with them is that you need to have more of an open mic than a jam. Like a jam is great, but if you have an open mic, the thing is you get more opportunities of musicians, because there's not every musician wants to actually jam, because you show up, okay, what songs do you know? I know songs from the 1950s, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know these songs, you know what I mean? So I'll jump in on them because they're usually, 3-chord, 4-chord patterns, and they're usually repetitive. Okay, fine, but it's not exciting. Where if you bring in a musician and let them do their own thing, kind of like at the Cafe 1870. Like that is the concept I would like to do, is a real open mic, but we need a PA, right? So charge a small fee for people, maybe $5 to come in, and we take that money and we buy a PA. You know what I mean? And then we buy lighting, and you could put on a show. Then you could book people. You know, so my part of my thing, like right now, you guys know I have no credit card debt because I've been telling you that. One of the things I will be doing is getting another acoustic guitar that's fully functioning. You know, mine are worn out. You know, like the 12 string. I'm so disappointed in that 12 string. I haven't given up on it yet, but I try a couple more things, and then I don't know. I have to, like the idea of buying that 12 string was going to be my gig guitar for the next 10 years. I got a year and a half out of it, and it was like, it was a B stock guitar, so there you go. Now I know why it was a B stock guitar. So that's what it was. The issues that it has, right? So I've explained it in that video, so we'll go over it now. But I'm going to get another good, reliable 6-string acoustic guitar, and then ideally another 12-string. And get a really good, reliable 12-string and a good PA system. I've already got the mics and stuff like that I can make do with, and then put on a show. Just put on a show. Winter months, like that's why I want to get like a stand-up bass and a cello and stuff like that. I like to do like an acoustic violin show, but a sound stage usually has mics built into it, right? To have people sit there and be quiet enough to hear a violin at the back of the room, they have to be dead quiet. So I don't know if the hall would be a good venue for that, like a quartet maybe, but like something that can make enough noise and project enough volume. But like soloist violin, I could work out a really cool show just on that. But would it draw a crowd? I don't know. Maybe the library would be a better, after hours in the library might be a better way to go with that. And, reservations only. And, but the thing is it is what it is. I could host stuff here if I wanted to, but the problem is I'm not set up for that, nor do I want strangers in the house. You know what I mean? But it would be cool. It would be very cool. So I don't know exactly what I'll be able to work out, but using what I have, like the PA system I have, could barely do a room this size properly with a bunch of people in it, unless they're sitting extremely quiet. But if they're sitting extremely quiet, you could just go all acoustic, right? And I've done that before, and people loved it. I remember the bar and grill that was beside the hotel. When Tracy had it, she had me play there a couple of times, and people loved it. They loved it. I just played for the hat, So I was like, oh, I'll play for the hat, and it won't cost you anything, because like you're not going to charge somebody $300 for live entertainment. But she was like, and I mean, she threw in a couple of bucks too, and whatever. And the first time I did it, I made like $165 just to people, like, here, tip for the bartender, tip for the guy, singing. So people were happy with that, right? But that's no longer there. that's there is no establishments in this town anymore for live music. So it's kind of one of the things is you either do it in the churches, but the churches aren't very warm this time of year. So okay, the one church has heat, but the other church, but it's that big cathedral style ceiling. Well, it's not a cathedral, but it's cathedral ceiling. The heat's all up there. Your feet are freezing. You know what I mean? And the pews are cold. You're going to give you hemorrhoids. So, But I would love to perform in the churches at with like a cello or something like that. I think the town would just love that. It's like, oh, here's a little hour and a half long concert. You could go about the rest of your day. Do it on an afternoon, stuff like that. I was even telling my friend, telling Amanda, I was like, we used to do plays and stuff here in this town. Like it was interesting. I'd love to do something like that. I'd make it funny as hell. Like people love stuff like that. As I think like the Stratford festivals. Oh yeah, like they kind of a cool idea. But I want to more focus on music. Like tomorrow, I work in the morning, and then after that is depending on if it snows again, if I'll be shoveling or whatever. But after that, I'm going to be recording the song Pinto. I'm going to be doing a bunch of cover tunes, working out my set list, which I've already started doing. And the thing is when I play I play a show, right? It's usually about 3 hours. Like just three sets, 3 1 hour sets, 3 45-minute sets, whatever it works out. But it's typically we'll say 3 hours. And I'll go and I'll play the show and whatever, and it's like, okay, great. I played that song live, I nailed it. Okay, now I want to do another song, And the problem is I'm always trying to come up with new songs. I don't want to, because what happens is if you play too close together, you're always playing the same songs all the time, and then it gets stagnant. It becomes like a job where if you're always performing something new, and I love more than anything live music because it doesn't matter what the band is. I always like even if they make a recording that's absolutely perfect, I will always usually prefer the live version of that song, even if there's mistakes in it, because and other things. It's just like the performance is what really takes you in. Even like for example, there's a song, I'm sure everybody knows it, Radiohead's "Creep." I was listening to reactions to that. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how like the live version, and the live version is so good of this one live version. Like the guy just belts out. It all comes down to the one note he belts out, and it just that made the whole song. It's just like wow, that would be awesome to be in that room to hear that. And I think when I do my acoustic stuff, I'm not miking and stuff, and you get the raw versions. You have to understand when you're mic'd, you can add extra bottom end to the vocals and reverb and all those things, and it really fills in. It sounds really good. But when you get a really good acoustic, where there's the only mic that's picking up anything is on the camera, and you can nail that and make that sound good. It's just if that sounds good on the other side of the camera, you got to imagine what it sounds like on this side of the camera, right? So, it is really like that. It is really like that. And the thing is that's what you live for, right? So, I'll see where we end up by the end of the winter. But if I could do a couple of local gigs, local, the top of the hill over there at the Bethany Hall, I could do that throughout the winter, even if I did one show a month. Because what they were doing, they were booking every Friday. The people at the end of the town, they were booking every Friday or every second Friday as a jam night. And again, the concept was great. The concept was fantastic. So I showed up for a few of them. I missed one, I think, just because by the time I got off of work and so I was just too tired, and it was raining, and I wasn't going to subject my equipment. But then everybody stopped going, not because they didn't want to go, but it was just they didn't quite do it right. The concept was right, but they wanted to just play old slow blues tunes, right? And that's fine and dandy, but not everybody wants that, right? And they also did it too early in the evening. They should have done it about an hour or 2 hours later. On a Friday night, nobody, no one's showing up at 5 o'clock on Friday night because they're going to be having supper, right? And then if you're shutting it down at 7, by the time they're done supper and all that, relaxing a bit after a day of work, but if you started at 7 and went till 9 or 10, that would probably be better, or even 8 to 10, whatever. Those are better hours because it gives people time to get home and relax, whatever. And if you did it on a Saturday night versus a Friday night, you're even more likely, you could do it earlier on a Saturday because most people aren't working on the Saturday, right? So the way I would do it, I like, and this is just from years of playing live music and stuff like that way back when. I never liked playing during the week that much because your crowds were never as big. You played a Thursday night. Like I like going out myself on a Thursday night, and the bar's not too packed. And if there is a band, you get the like at the Heart and Crown and stuff like that. I'd go there every Thursday night. I preferred it over the Friday and Saturday because you just couldn't get in there on a Friday and Saturday. It was just too packed, right? But that's the exception to the rule, where most places Thursday night there's like crickets. You know what I mean? So I did it that way. But when I was playing, it was like Thursday night, 5 people come out to see you. You know what I mean? Friday night, maybe 35 people come out to see you. Saturday night, 300 people come out and see you. Like it was the same all the time. Why? And what had nothing to do with us. It was just people's time. You know what I mean? Most people, even if they worked retail, they were done by 9 o'clock. Okay, at the latest. But a lot of retail was done by 5 o'clock, right? And some people, wanted to party. But most people, when they had a weekend off, they will go out. And if you're the band that's playing on the weekend, guess what? You're the one that makes the money on the weekend, right? So if I could get 300 people to come out to see me at $5 a piece, that would be fantastic. Is that wishful thinking? Yes, it absolutely is. I would anticipate playing for the hat for the first one. The reason being is it's $165 to rent the hall, right? And now if you're going to be renting like PAs and stuff like that, I just simply won't do that, because if you don't have enough people to come out to see you for free, you're not going to have enough people to come out to see you for a fee, right? So what I want to do is advertise that I'm going to be playing for like 3 months ahead, and just kind of keep reminding everybody, yeah, 3 months, come see me at the hall. Come see me at the hall. I'm playing for the hat. It's $165 for me to rent the place, and then whatever. But if I have my own PA by that time, that'd be good enough, right? And like I always, every time I play live, even as of recent, like when I did the jam thing in the spring there, when I did my little segment of the show, everybody says the same thing. Oh, I'd love to see you do more. And then last year when I played, I didn't do it this year because I was working and I couldn't, and I didn't have the PA. But when I did the show last year at Amanda's shop, like you guys saw the videos and stuff like that. Like everybody enjoyed that. Okay, yeah, it was done with electric guitars. It was a little bit, a little bit of a different thing. But if like Amanda was really hoping I was going to be able to bring out the 12 string. She goes, because she tells everybody, you got to hear this guy play 12 string. You got to hear this guy play 12 string. It's like it'll freak you out. It's the mandolin and 12 strings. Like, oh yeah, but the problem is my 12 strings screwed up. So otherwise, I would have brought it out. But it's like people are like, oh yeah, you got to see him play. You got to hear him play. It's great. So when you watch the videos, sometimes the videos captured a little bit differently in the sense of sound quality. So you don't realize that it actually sounded better than it did. Right, but a lot of times, yes, you'll catch the mistakes and stuff, and you learn from your every live. I've yet to play a show perfectly, 100% every song, and not miss a single note. But I have done jam nights where every song, every note, vocal, and guitar were accounted for. Meaning, I played nailed it. But like to do an entire 3 hours with 0 mistakes happening or whatever, like that. That's what you strive for. But if 80% of the songs you play are like immaculate. Like I just did that Anchor's Oblivion. Okay, now do I do it as well as Anchor? Of course not. It's their song, right? And they've got a full band there, and of course it's a phenomenal song. Phenomenal song. But what would the audience react to hear that song live? Like a song they've never heard before, but it's just like, wow, it takes you on a bit of a roller coaster. Great song. I love songs like that. When I sing like Teresa's songs, Viking metal songs on acoustic, people get a kick out of that because they're just like, what the hell am I listening? This guy sounds crazy. It's awesome. That's what I go for. That's what I'm going for. So for me, setting up a show, the nice thing about being, like this week coming is down here I can make as much noise as I want doing that and really hone in on a good show, and then it's just a matter of having the equipment to do the show and booking the venue. Now, paying to play is something I usually never do, because most of the time, if you only have like 8 people show up for you, they have to donate $20 a piece. Good luck with that. You'd be lucky if they donate $2 or $1 a piece or anything. You get the odd person. Like there was one girl, she gave me $5 when I did we made $46, and I split it 2 ways, right? So I made $23 on that little thing. But the girl that threw in the $5, she was the only one that threw in $5. Everybody else threw in $2. So it was like 40 some odd bucks a change. Oh, and there was a 20 in there. There was a 20 in there. So I don't know who threw in the 20, but whoever did, thank you. But so I donated half the money to Brian because I was using his PA, and he only sang a couple of songs, right? And he was blown away by that show. With the 7-string and all that, he was just like, that was incredible. I haven't talked to him in a while, but him and I were trying to get together. We've done a lot of talking, but not a lot of doing. And it's we're both working class men. So it's not my fault, his fault. It's the way the cookie crumbles, right? But I know as a soloist, I can just go out and do it as soon as I got my shit together for a set list, right? And I could bring out the old set lists and whatever, but I've done that. I want to give you something new. I want to entertain you with something new. Amanda said it to me best. I said, well, it's like, I want to put on a show. She goes, yeah, you're an entertainer. It's like, duh. It's like, yeah, you're right. But she gets it. Like, she wants to do that stuff too. Like, because she does get up on stage and she will sing and stuff like that. But for her, it's to get us rehearsed well enough, because I told her, I said, when you go on stage and you play a really well-rehearsed song together, it's not like doing a jam night. Jam nights are fun. They're good practice. You don't take them too seriously. You just go and enjoy yourself. But a show it's on. You are there to entertain the audience. So, like, I've always said it like this. I'll give you all my music philosophies. So first off, this goes back to what the relative I bought my first electric guitar from, Gilbert. He played guitar since he was a young man, whatever. He's no longer with us, God rest him. But he said something to me that stuck. And he says, it doesn't matter what you're playing. If it's rock, blues, metal, obviously he was country western, but rock, blues, metal, jazz, classical, he goes, if people can't understand what you're playing, they're simply not going to listen. So always play to the best of your ability. Always. He always told me, Reg, he'd listen to me play, he goes, you're slacking there a bit. Always do the best you can. Always play to the best of your ability. You give it 110% all the time. And maybe you get away with 90. You know what I mean? But if you give it 100%, you might get away with 80. If you give it 80%, you might get away with 30. You know what I mean? So give it 110% all the time, And I always added to that music is from within, the instrument is a tool, and the quality of the instrument is the icing on the cake. And that, to me, was like, okay, that's great philosophy. But there was one more. And I thought that right there. That. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, eh? That, right? Okay. I was listening to a band called Sugarland, and I had visions of Amanda and I covering some of the Sugarland songs because they're fantastic. They're just really good, And the guitar player Christian Bush said something that I thought, man, that's brilliant. When they put Sugarland together, Jennifer Nettles and Christian Bush were the founders of it, and then there was another Christian Bush there was a male Christian Bush and a female Christian Bush that just happened to be in the same band. And then she left, and then it was down to just Jennifer Nettles as the lead singer. And, as gorgeous as Jennifer Nettles is, she in her voice, talent, yeah, she's got it all. For the country, country pop singer. Yeah, she's got it. It's as good as they can get. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift, just get out of Jennifer's way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love Jennifer Nettles. I think she's fantastic. Even though I'm a metal guy, right? Oh, fire truck? Cop car. You got the cop car. Mm. Careful on those roads today. Anyway, so Christian Bush was sitting there, and they asked them a question. Well, what was the main goal of the band? Like, when you put it together, what were you thinking? He goes, first off, they wanted to have happy-go-lucky music. Okay, fair enough. Check the box. But they said it had to be more than that. So they thought, if we were in the audience, what would we want to see? And I just, like, when he said it that way, I'm just like, yeah, presentation is everything. So I've always added that when you are in your room and you're writing songs or practicing, you're a musician first. When you're in the studio, you're a musician first, right? When you're learning songs, you're a musician first. When you're studying music, you're a musician first. But when you're on stage, you're an entertainer, performer first. A musician second. So just get your musician side down, right? Get that down. But learn how to bring that to people. And I remember one girl, Anna. There's a girl I wanted to do songs with for sure. I think she would have been really cool to do songs with, but she lives too far away. She came up to me one night after I got off the stage, and it was like the second or third time she'd seen me play, at the jam night. And she goes, dude, your fucking stage presence is awesome. Like, you just know how to work the audience, right? And, but it's like, okay, when you watch the video, maybe no, because you're on this side of the camera. But when you're in the audience, it's with, it's there. And I remember another guy came up to me, and I remember him standing at the end of the bar, and he just had this look on his face like he wasn't impressed. But I did, I know I was doing Sabaton's Bismarck, and I did the story and everything like that. The whole bar went quiet, and I was telling the theatrical story, and then I get into the song. And my mandolin was slightly out of tune because I had changed the string. Note to self to mandolin players: change your strings at least 2 or 3 days before you play live, okay? And then, because mandolins are just so finicky, have a backup mandolin with fresh strings on it. And those strings are, because if you change them the night of the gig, it's like that one string is just going to go out of tune on you. Just that one. Not all of them, just one. And they're going to hear it. They're going to hear it all. They're going to hear it perfectly, So anyway, I did the Sabaton song, and I remember the guy came up and goes, that song you did about the battleship there. Oh, dude, that was so epic. And that was 2 weeks later. He was telling me how much he enjoyed it, right? So riddle me this. When you go see your average local band, okay, and whether you got drunk or you didn't get drunk or whatever, but you went and you saw them, okay, and you had fun. You remember you had fun, but what did you enjoy? Like what was the best song they did that night? You're like, I don't really remember. But I remember. I remember you singing this. I remember when I did the Kings of Leon song. This girl from Chile, Isabel. I'd love to do a song with her. Like, she would always go up and play her three or four songs, but she'd always play the songs that she always played. So obviously she would nail them, and she'd sing one in Chilean, and then she'd sing a couple other songs. She always played fingers. She was a fantastic musician. I would like to hear her do more stuff. And could I make her go metal? But I remember I was talking to Isabel one night, and she was saying, she was the Kings of Leon song. She goes, it just grabbed me by the heart. It was so good. She goes, you got to keep doing that. You got to keep doing that, right? And she goes, I can feel like in the vocals. And I got a recording of it. And it's a shitty recording, but like, I know I did good on that song. Like, I know I sounded like the guy and everything, but I know the emotion in the room. You could hear people, that was great, I did Take On Me, the Take On Me song there by Aha. And there was one guy for about a month after, he kept going, Aha, Aha, in the audience every time I'd get on stage, because he remembered it. Why? Because I did a good job on it. I entertained. That's why, like, when Amanda and I were doing songs, I'm like, when I watch the Sugarland stuff, I'm like, okay, man, watch the Sugarland videos. Like I tell her, watch the just watch them. Watch how they interact with each other. Watch what they're doing. You know, like just watch. Pay attention. I got it. I got it. You know, like that kind of thing, right? Guys, I said that's the theatrics that we're going to do. You know, like if we ever could do Phantom, I don't know if Amanda would be capable of Phantom of the Opera. She'd really have to work hard on that one. Most people can't do that. No, you know, like. But I would love to do Phantom of the Opera, acoustic, electric. I don't care. We used to do a version of it in my old band Syndicate years ago, back in 1995. And yes, Stacy could hit that note and above. Like I forget that it's like the top of a female range. She was incredible, right? But she didn't want to play that song every night. You know, like that was like she'd look at us just yes or no. You know, she'd be like, nope, nope, not today. So I think we did it like twice or whatever. But we'd always steal a theme out of it to start the show. And but it was the theatrics. It was always the theatrics. And I like, you know, joking around with the audience and stuff like that. That's why like a great guy to watch for like live, especially in his you know, like in his 30s or whatever, Peter Gabriel. Like the Talk to Me video with what is her name? Paula. What anyway? With the how they open the show with the phone booth, I would love to be able to do that. Like that is a show. That is like wow with the phone and everything. And then you know what a wow. You know, like who wouldn't want to see that? And the thing is like some of the best bands live. It's not just the music. Like I'd love to see Epica live. I mean, especially with the orchestra. Like that would be such an experience. You would never forget that as long as you live. It would be phenomenal. I'd love to see Encore live. I love the way Fito and Jesse Williams interact. There's a song that Encore does called Stereo, and there's one live version of it. The lights are like blue and purple. You'll see the avatar. Watch that one. That's my favorite version of it live. Maybe not sound quality wise, but just watch what Fito does. Like the song's basically like voices in stereo, right? So he runs up behind her and he's like that, and she's like, but it's just like how they work off of each other. You know, like she shoots him on stage, like fake shoots him on stage and stuff like that. And it's like it's a stage act, right? And they do it every show, but people will remember stuff like that because it's just so well done, you know. You know, like it's something that I'm looking forward to bringing not only to the YouTube channel and stuff like that. Like, yeah, sure, you know this is one dimension of what, but I really want you guys to see the live version of that. But I also want to inspire you guys to go out and look for stuff like that in the real world because you won't regret it. I mean, I was very happy when James told me about his guitar teacher adopting one of my teaching philosophies, you know, of how to incorporate melody into your songs. You know what I mean? And I'm just very happy that James was my student and he actually remembered it. You know, so like, it's one of those things like there's areas where, you know, like that guy probably could teach him more than I could and vice versa. Right. And James he said, he goes, no, you're the best guitar teacher I've ever had. He goes, the stuff I've learned from you in such a short amount of time, you know, like he's, you know, so that makes me feel good, you know, but I've taught other people how to do it. But what am I teaching you? Well, I'm teaching you what I do. Well, what do I do? Well, I want to get the sounds like Paul Gilbert would say. He goes, there's the sounds in your head over here. And then there's your playing ability. And what you're trying to do is get them to meet. Right? And if the closer you can get, the better. And I'm like, that's a brilliant philosophy for sure. And the thing is it's challenging. Like, it's challenging because you're not you know, if you're doing cover tunes, you're not them. So you're never going to be exactly like them. You're never going to sound exactly like the singer, especially if you're a male covering a female voice or a female covering a male voice, right? You're never going to sound like that. So you have to make it your own. This is something I always told Amanda, like whenever we do a song, don't worry about it being perfect to the original because we're not them. We'll keep it as close as we can so it's recognizable, but make it your own. You know what I mean? Make it your own. Like keep the key signature points in the song, sure, because that's what people go for, but make it your own. And anyway, I guess I'll wrap up on that. Just something I wanted to talk about. About, gotta say it right, about. But yeah, no, a really good day. It was nice to be out talking to people. Nice to see the vets. Um, Stuff like that. I mean, there's not too many veterans left in my town. Like they're all pretty much passed away, right? There's a couple, but how long are they going to be around for? You know what I mean? So it's always about the next generation anyway. But I know kind of a little bit of a sporadic video about just a little bit of everything. But yeah, just stuff coming. But I'm very excited about what's coming next because after tomorrow, again, I'm basically going into the winter, and I'm not going to be working as much. So I'm going to make this the most musical winter of my life. Just the fact that I have a studio slash house, whatever. So I'll leave you with this. My great aunt asked me today. She asks me, Reg, are you living at the house? I said, well, here's how it goes. I said, from about 8 o'clock on in the morning to about 5 at night, I live at the house. But from supper time on, I stay at the other house. Oh, okay, I get it. But yeah, the answer is yes and no. I mean, I haven't slept down here yet. But well, lie. I mean, when I was a kid, yes, I would sleep down here with my grandparents. We'd sleep here, whatever. On the weekends, we'd come up and visit grandma and grandpa. But no, I haven't slept. But it's not like there's no excitement because like my childhood was in this house before that house existed, right? So part of my childhood was here. So I know what to expect. So I want to get the other projects done before I even worry about that. But I'll get that. And then when I'm just like really mad scientist into working on a song or songwriting or something like that, okay, yeah, I'll crash out here. You know what I mean? It is what it is. This place is special. This place is special. And there's lots to do, but there's also lots to share. And it just takes time to get things out. That's all. Is what it is. Is what it is. Anyway, that said, I'm going to go do stuff now. There we go. Yeah.